Okay, we're going to go over the KABS DVD 105G USB karaoke player and the Audio 2000 AWM 6112 dual wireless rechargeable microphones. First and foremost, probably the most important thing when a consumer shops is it's difficult to compare apples because most vendors, we basically live in a world where everyone is competing against each other, and the only level they're really competing at is who could beat who with pricing. Yet the one thing the consumer fails to realize is they have to look at overall value and cost of long-term ownership. Not only does our reputation far exceed many other sellers, we also have an exclusive lifetime dead cost repair replace program that makes a huge difference in cost of ownership. So no matter what price you see, even if you saw a product that was $100 cheaper, trust us, consumers that have known us for years will all tell you that the price, the cost of ownership is far lower with us in the long run. Now, as far as how I hook this up, I'm using this setup as a demonstration. I have it hooked to a TV. Basically, you have your red, white, and yellow RCAs. This is going in the far left-hand corner of the player. Of course, there's other inputs if you were using like a 5.1, 7.1 surround sound, so you would actually look in the manual and have the hookups there. You have the video coming out, then you have your dual wireless mic, just 1/4 inch plug that's going out to the front of the player, right into the microphone input. You could run your microphones through this. Most people will hook this up to a home stereo amplified system and run it through their speaker system. In the event that you want to enhance the overall experience of the system and want to get closer and closer as if you were in a karaoke club, one of the first things you do is you add a microphone mixer to the system. You could ask us about the pros and cons of that, and we also have other ads for that. Now, when powering it up, you basically just power up here, power up here. The player, when it powers up, it's going to show on the screen that it's initializing. That's what you want to see. It will show that the disc is loading. And then it's going to show no disc. This is what you want to see every time when you power up this player. Now, you look at the front of the wireless microphones, it has a charging station. This has no memory, so every time you're not using it, just set it down in there and it will charge it. It has 3 AA rechargeable batteries in it. This is probably the most popular and most reliable dual set for under $100. So we always tell buyers, buyer beware of the knockoff ones. Audio 2000's been around a long time. They're probably the oldest karaoke manufacturer that we know of. When it sits in here, the charging light goes on. It's red. It will turn green when it's fully charged. Typically when you first get this, you want to let it sit for 24 hours. I set the main volumes. Basically, if you think of a clock, right around 11 o'clock. When you turn these on, check, check, 1, 2. Of course, you're not getting the greatest sound because I'm going through the small TV, so it's not going to represent the sound quality. But you'll see that this fluctuates when you utilize it. The first second you turn this on, you could already see channel 2. So you know which one it goes to. Now, if you accidentally stuck it over here, it's really not going to matter. Now, as far as utilizing the player, whoops, most often you're going to use the remote control. Okay? So if you're going to play a CD, we'll go ahead and take a CD, pop the CD in, let it load up. Because this is a Super CDG, which is KABS proprietary format, you look at the screen. Once it loads, what it's going to do is it's basically going to show you a folder. Typically, Super CDGs take a little bit longer. This one has over 1,000 songs. You look at your song list, press the song you want, press enter. Being that this particular one is a Latin disc, for example, you'll see the video background, but for the most part, your typical karaoke does not have that. They just have the lyrics and so forth. You also have what's called a key control on the remote. You could start changing the key as you point it to the player. See how it goes up on the TV? Goes down. Now, if you're hearing vocals throughout the whole, there's a multiplex button right here. If you look at the TV, when you hit multiplex, see how it says mono left? Now all of a sudden you don't hear the singer anymore. So if you get one that has the singer in it, just go ahead and make sure you go to mono left. And it'll basically take it out of there. And once you do that for the disc, it'll stay that way. Now let's say you wanted to play the drive. Okay, we're going to start back from scratch, okay? Let's say you're not using any disc and you want to go ahead and just simply play a drive. You already have all your music on the drive. You wait for it to say no disc, and then you basically just plug your drive in the back. Not all drives are compatible. There's a lot of counterfeit drives out there, so you either want to buy one that is supplied by the manufacturer, cab's manufacturer, or you want to be able to talk to the seller and find out which drive is going to work best. So once the drive's plugged in, it's going to go ahead and give you the folders. So let's say you bought the player and you have 6 discs. Traditionally, you would take those 6 discs, you would figure out which one you want to sing, pop in that disc, then go to the song. The way this does is now you're virtually going to it. So in this case, for example, you have a karaoke folder, so you'll see that I scroll down to karaoke song folder, press enter. It's showing that it has so many songs. Press the song you want, press enter. Now you could also press the repeat function, and you'll see that it'll show continue. I'll do it again. Continue. Now you can program this. So you could just press 2. You could press 2. Program. So basically you want to make sure your remote is pointing right at the player. So I want to do 6. Program. So I just programmed 3 songs. It's going to go to each one. But let's say the person doesn't want to sing the next one. All you have to do is just stop it. It's going to go to the next one. Stop it, go to the next one. Now, you have the drive in, and then someone has a karaoke disc that they want you to play. This is what you do. There's an a D/U button on the bottom pointed at the player. You'll see that it gives you a choice. Right now, the purple is saying that you have the USB device you're using, the drive. Then you want to change to the DVD drive, which is where you put your CD in. Now it's changing over, says no disc. It's going to allow you to load up the disc and play it. And then when you're done, you just basically go back to it by hitting the D/U button again and then switching over. But I've seen it sometimes where it's actually reacted after someone took the actual disc out. In fact, that's exactly what we'll do. Once this disc comes up, we'll go ahead and test it and see if we could get it to do. So let's say we played our song, we're done. Okay, good job. We don't want a CD now. We want to go back to our drive, so we take out our disc, and then we go ahead and let's see if it actually goes back to the drive because the disc is gone. Actually, it does. So if you keep the disc in the player, that's when you have to use the D/U to bounce back and forth between the two. And then there's a lot of tutorials. There's step-by-step tutorials, videos on cabsusa.com. You can look at the tutorials on how to upload CDGs, how to transfer them. There's a lot of useful tips on running the player and so forth. And that's pretty much it as far as the standard use. Look at the manual and so forth, and do not forget those tutorials. They're priceless.